Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. This is the Halloween edition, hence the headgear and the pumpkin. I have got some stitching to show you, a reasonable amount for a week. It's been a really tough week though, just getting to the end of school. We start our half term now, so I can't wait for that. And then I've got lots and lots of previous Halloween finishes to show you as well. Like I said, it's been a super busy week. I did go and get my eyes tested after still having a headache for like the last 3 weeks. So he's found something a little bit to do with my eyes. Nothing major, just getting into old age. Just that my eyesight, which has always been pretty good, my eyes always did the same thing. Now he said one eye's sort of working a little bit better than the other, so that could be the reason for the headaches. But when I told him where I was getting the headaches and the pattern of headaches, he's like, I'm pretty much sure it's the tension that you're carrying in your shoulders. But there we are. He asked me what my my close vision was like, so I gave him the only frame of reference that I've got, and I said, well, I can stitch on 40 count without a magnifier. And his face was just totally bemused, had no clue. And I love it when you go and have your eyes tested. They do these sort of bright light tests and they insist on doing them like halfway through your eye test, and it's like, what can you see now? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm filming today a little bit earlier, so hence the light is slightly different. It's bright outside. We are heading to the Cotswolds very shortly, so I just wanted to get my video filmed ready to go. You can probably hear Ness, Captain Chaos, going about getting her stuff ready to go. I've also got a bit of a cough, so I may have to pause for that. But other than that, everything's fine. So another good thing that happened this week was that my exchange piece finally reached Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I was sweating. I've been sweating all month about it actually arriving. I posted it right at the beginning of October, and I held on to it for a couple of extra days because of the strikes, and then I posted it, and it's just been, I don't know where. It's been all the way around. I've seen tracking for it from Jamaica, from different parts of America, but it finally arrived in Portland yesterday, and I'm pleased to say she was really pleased with it, and she sent me some pictures of it, which was really good because I hadn't taken any pictures of it. So I'll put a picture up here. It actually was, you have actually seen it, it was the Elfin Forest piece that I was stitching, and I will be stitching myself another one because I really did like it. So it was stitched on 36 count Fox and Rabbit. Can't remember the name of it. I'll put it across the bottom. It was one of the fabrics of the month, but it was such a lovely colour. I'm stitching several other bits on it, so hopefully it will come to mind. Right, okay, let me show you. First of all, I'm going to just give you a little recap on my bingo pincushion. A little cushion, my bingo little cushion. The chart is available in my Etsy store. Now, you can see I've used 2 colours on this. So in my charting, I had to write down the 2 correct colours, one of which is Blanc. The other one I got wrong. I think I put 955 instead of 995, and a very kind lady actually messaged me and said, did you mean to put 955 or 995? She said, because 995 looks like the colour you've used. And I was like, oh God, I only had 2 colours to write and I got one of them wrong. So the chart has been corrected. It's been corrected for a couple of weeks. I meant to mention it last week and I never did. But yeah, if you want to stitch yourself a little bingo card and put all your favourite buttons on it, then the chart is available in my Etsy shop. I'll see if it'll stand there. I'll probably knock it off again in a minute. Right, so what have I been stitching this week? As I said, I've not stitched a huge amount, although I have had a new start, and it is my sampler, Black Sampler November piece, which will be for sale, I'm hoping, next week. So I'll show you that in a minute. I have been working on, now, nothing is ironed. Not for once because I didn't have the time, or because I didn't have the inclination, but because I couldn't. I have another kitchen sat in my garage and there's absolutely no way that I could reach the iron. So I have been working on the Teresa Kogut strawberry sampler, which is part of one of her Patreon tiers. And you've seen it before, so you've seen it uncreased before. It's on a piece of fabric that I dyed, so let's get the whole thing. It's not, yeah, that's not too bad. It's perhaps a little bit more yellowy than that. And then I came down and worked on that tree, and there's a basket of fruit here, and this is the woman, she stood next to a man. Now there is something wrong with that tree somewhere along the line, but for the life of me I can't work out where it is, so it's staying like that. One stitch somewhere is not quite right, but as I'm not planning to frame it next to the chart, we'll never know. So that's what I worked on. I also had another start, and I started something from this book, The 13 Spooky Smalls. Now when I say I started, I literally have done a very tiny bit. So I've started this one up here, again with sulky threads on 36 count. And the fabric I'm using is a fabric that I dyed myself. I got to sort of Tuesday and I was like, I just need half an hour. Just need half an hour doing something that I really want to do. And so I decided to dye some fabric. So I've got quite a few pieces of fabric to show you, because I think I dyed 4 fat quarters and 6 pieces of 36 count. So the fat quarters are 32 count, the other 6 pieces are 36 count. Now they haven't been serged yet because we're going to Mum's today. So this was one of the pieces that I dyed. Oh, there we go, about there. And so this is the colour, it's probably going to blow out now. This is the colour that I'm going to be using to do those little smalls, because they're all stitched on either like a grey or a cream. Does it say? A wheat or a light taupe. Stormy night, light taupe, vintage country mocha. So all sort of kind of either greys or browns. So I'm going to do a lot of mine on this colour, not necessarily all of them, but some of them. So I've actually got 2 pieces of this that I dyed. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll show you the rest of the dyes now, because the other new piece, my Black Sampler November piece, I've started on another piece that I dyed, and I'll show you that in a minute. So here is the stack. Oops. There we go. So as I said, I actually did 2 pieces of 36 count. Like I say, I'm sure it would have been lovely if it was actually properly ironed, but I did 2 pieces of that in the same dye so that they're exactly the same. This is why I always film at night when everyone's gone to bed. So 2 pieces of that colour. In 36 count I also did a blue with some grey in it. It looks purple, but it was actually grey. I did a beige with some brown. And I also did a more mottled brown. And then I did one more piece that I'm actually stitching on. I'll show you that in a minute. And then my 32 count pieces. Again, these are going to look so much better when they're stitched. And much, much nicer to stitch on. I did a piece of green, quite heavily mottled. So if you want it more mottled, let's come back this way. If you want it more mottled, you do it in a smaller jar. So you crease it up a lot more than you would do if you wanted it less mottled. I did my version of what I think Dirty Teacup looks like. Now, I've never had any Dirty Teacup, but I've always quite fancied some. But it's harder to get. So I've got a little bit more mottling over this side, and it's difficult in this light, less on this side. But that's fine. So I always get asked questions about where I get my fabric to dye from. I don't buy direct from Zweigart. I don't do enough really to buy direct from Zweigart. I get mine from Wool Warehouse, which I find to be, always have a good supply of just white Zweigart in various different counts. And then this one, which is kind of like a gingerbready colour. That's sort of what I was going for with that one. And then the last one I dyed specifically to do the Barbara Anna Bonkers stitch along, which I'll put up here. And it's kind of blues and greens and yellows, which I think will suit it nicely. So again, apologies for the creases. I just can't get to the iron. It's a good job it's not something I generally bother, because I just can't get to it. There's an entire kitchen in the way. Right, let's put those over there, because I've got to remember to pack those, otherwise they're never going to get serged. And then the piece that I have started for Black Sampler November, and this is the piece that's going to be released. So I bought a little while ago a really sweet little sampler by Mary Ann Kettle, aged 8, 1838. Now she's not black, it's not stitched in black, it's stitched in like a kind of a greeny colour. Let's see if I can find it. There. Now you can see that I have put, oh, get me things stuck on the curtain, I have put some post-it notes over part of the sampler, because I'm going to keep that bit of the sampler secret until next week. It was what made me buy the sampler. That little phrase there was what made me buy the sampler. So you've got your alphabet in uppercase here and numbers lowercase, and then it says remember thy creator in thy youth, the phrase, and then it says strive to learn at the bottom. It's very much a schoolgirl sampler, and she's got some great advice for us there. So because I knew I wanted to make it my Black Sampler November chart, I decided to stitch her in black, obviously, as that's the point of it, but I decided to use the colour of the stitches now as my background. So this is where I am. So this is another piece that I dyed. When I release the chart, what I'll do is I'll give you the nearest DMC colour to the fabric, but really because it's a black sampler you can stitch it on any colour. So this is where I've got to. Nearly got, well, I've got my top line in and nearly the full top border. It's missing about 20 stitches, and I've got remember thy, and then here's my missing line, which you can see there starts with B, and then I've come down and I've got her name. So this kind of shows you the way that I go about stitching these samplers. I like to find the edges, I like to find the top, I like to find the bottom. So hopefully by next week I will have her fully stitched, so you can see her great piece of advice for us all, and the chart will be available should you like to buy it for some Black Sampler November. I know you may have already got your pieces decided, but she's a sweet little thing and she really doesn't take that long. There we go. So I shall be taking that one with me to the Cotswolds to finish. I'm using black sulky thread. As I said, if not in this video, but I'm sure I've said before, sulky and 36 count is one of my favourite combinations. I'm also going to do the freebie chart on what's left of that fabric, because it's another black stitch, and this time it's from the Sub Rosa, and it's just a super simple little chart which says which will make a great little pin cushion or great little bit for a dough bowl or even a hanging ornament. So that's the freebie. I will put that in the notes down below. Totally lost my train of thought there. Happens frequently. Now, if you're hoping to see the sampler that I've purchased, yes, another one, but this one is a beautiful, beautiful sampler. I'm going to keep you guessing on that one. I'm going to show her next week because I've got quite a lot of Halloweeny stuff to share with you. She's elegant, beautiful, not Halloweeny at all, so I'm going to save her for next week. If you're interested and you haven't seen her on Instagram, go onto Instagram. She's on my Instagram feed. A little bit of haul before I show you my previous finishes. So the first one came today, just on a stash and load. I picked up O Tannenbaum by Brenda Gervais. I knew that, but I never like to just say it straight out loud. I always like to check whether it's Brenda Gervais or With Thy Needle and Thread, just so that you know which one to look for. It's the same person, but they may be in separate places on some retailers' websites. So you've got a little box there, and you've got a series of charts. The chances of finding the box are probably quite minimal, but they would certainly make fabulous little smalls regardless. And I've probably got some fabric in what I've just dyed in order to go with that. And then, so I told you last week about the fabric shop that I'd found on Etsy that I thought had really, really cool stuff, and I know a few people went on and bought some bits and pieces. So as I was putting my FlossTube together last week, I went back on and bought a few pieces because, as I said, I've seen what happens with you guys before. I'll tell you a great place to shop and then you'll shop there and then I won't be able to find anything. So I picked up a few other pieces. Let me show you what I got. So this one, if it's not going to blow out too much, is just a stitching one. It says so many projects, so much fabric, so little me. Measuring mania, seems right, keep calm, so on. I gather fabric. And it doesn't say on the selvage who it's by. I just love this one. And I think I might use some of it with that Hocus Pocus because it's a lovely purple. Look at that. With ravens and owls. So beautiful. Does it tell me on here? Twilight for Dashwood Studios by Beth and Janine for Dashwood Studios. There we go. I also bought another purpley one, just a kind of general swirly one. It looks more pink in this light, but it definitely is more purple. Again, for those smalls which have got the purple on them. And I'm hoping it's the right colour because I chose my thread before it arrived. If it's not, it will come in for something else. I think I've got a bit of an owl theme going on actually. So this is a nice autumnal one. I love these colours. I think this is the Dashwood Studios one as well. Or maybe not, maybe it isn't. But if you go, I'll put the link down below for this Etsy shop. If you go onto there, I'm sure she'll have more. More owls. More owls. I just love these guys. How cute are they? So I just bought a fat quarter in each of these, which is plenty for finishing. Just a plain kind of green check, but it's slightly different with these kind of oval shapes in the middle. And then a black cat one, because lots and lots of Halloween-y type designs have black cats on them somewhere along the line. And this one, which is a typography one. I do like typography, which has got lots of Halloween words on it. This is Riley Blake Designs Bad to the Bone. The cat one is Midnight Magic by Grace Poppy for Studio Fabric, I think. But like I said, if you go onto the website for this Etsy shop, not Etsy, eBay shop that I found, you'll see all these fabrics on there, I'm sure. And then the other thing I want to show you, I meant to show you this a couple of weeks ago when I got it. I bought this not long after the Queen died, and I thought it'd be nice to have a Christmas ornament to get out every year that's kind of remembers 2022 and the year the Queen died. And then I picked this one because it was wearing a crown. I think it's fabulous. A leopard with a crown on. Now I think they had two different types of one. This one came from Wilko in the UK. I think they had two. A leopard, maybe a tiger. I don't think it was a lion. I think it was maybe a tiger. But yeah, I just thought you'd like to see that. What I'm going to do now is just have a little bit of a rearrange. I'm going to grab my previous Halloween finishes to show you. I will try and remember who they're by, but if I can't remember at the time, I will look them up and I'll put it along the bottom when I show it. See you in a minute. Okay, I hope I can reach them. I'm going to start with this one, which kind of always sits back here, but it's been hidden by a red sampler for quite a few weeks now. So this is Pumpkin Gardener by MamaWitchXStitch, and I stitched her on 30 count Weeks Dye Works Dolphin. And you'll find MamaWitchXStitch, I think she's moved over to Gumroad. If I can find the link for her shop on Gumroad, I'll put it down below. What else have I got? Now some of these could do with a little dust, but never mind. It's Halloween. Dust is welcome. Dust and cobwebs are part of it, isn't it? So this is, it says, "We do lie beneath the grass." Now this is actually making the best of a bad job. This was my Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow that I started on 32 count vintage country mocha, and this was the size of one of the squares, so about the same size as my head. So when I finished the first square, I was very much quickly aware that this thing was just going to be so massive that there was just no way that I should be doing it on 32 count. I know people have done it on 32 count and it looks fabulous, but it was just going to be too big for me. So I have actually re-dyed a piece of 38 count, I think, but I don't know whether I've started it yet. Maybe I should. Maybe I should dig it out and take it with me, because I need another start. So there we go. So yeah, made the best of a bad job, made it into a pillow. Now this one is a little witch riding a little pull along lamb, and I can't for the life of me remember who that is off the top of my head. I'll have it written down somewhere, so I will write it across the bottom. I remember it came from an Etsy shop, but whose I can't remember. And that is stitched on a piece of 32 count Elixir by X2 Designs. I know that because pretty much everything I stitched for Halloween that year came on Elixir. I was doing one of my favourite, start off with one chart and then just carry on. Which reminds me, there should be another one somewhere. Where is that? It's probably in that pile there. We'll see how we go. I might dig it out. Okay, these two you've seen fairly recently. These are by Satsuma Street, and these are the perforated paper Halloween ornaments that they do. I've got another one that's waiting to be finished off, and I'm working on another one at the minute. She releases 4 every year, and I can't remember if these two are from the same year or from the two different sets. But they're such fun to stitch, and I just love the eyes and the beads on them. They really make it. This one was from Owl Forest Embroidery, and I think it was a freebie chart. And it's just got all those different gourds on it. I just went with my own colour conversion and just used up kind of autumny fabrics that I had, like the little raven there. And it's got like a boiled wool on the back, which was a pain in the bum because it's actually a stretchy boiled wool, and that's really hard to sew with. So there we go. Fabric, and neutral. Okay, I'll show you this one. This is one of the first drums that I ever made, I think. So this is called Witchy Washy, and I think it's by Raise the Roof. And I think I'm right in saying that Kitten Stitch does the PDFs for them. And so it's the witches washing out on the line. Hence why I decided to do mine on kind of like a summer's day fabric, because she's going to want that stuff for the evening. She's not going to be drying her washing at night. So it has got all her washing on. And then there is a button pack for it, which I think I remember getting from 123 Stitch. But I know Create Nostalgia carries a lot of the buttons, so you may be able to source them in the UK. So there's one there, a little cat, the little bat, pumpkin, a bird, and I think there's a spider on it somewhere. There, a little spider there. So that was great fun. That was great fun to stitch. This one is a Blackbird Designs, and it's called No House Without a Mouse. Now, I think I might be right in saying that this one is hard to find, and I don't think it's appeared in a book. So if I'm wrong, somebody please comment below, because other people might be looking for it. But I think it's out of print, and I think it's not appeared yet in a book. So this is stitched on a piece of 32 or 36 count hog's bristle by Fox and Rabbit. Now I'm really dragging things up from the back of my memory here, but I love that one. Stitched with, or finished with black velvet. I really like finishing my things with black velvet. Really like it. Now this one I'm going to have to look up, because I don't remember whose chart this is. Now this is hard to show actually. It says all natural pumpkin juice, 100% pure, no added potions or poisons. Now I'd made it so it's not stiff. It's stuffed with walnut shells, but I'd made it because I wanted it to look a bit more like a sort of a sack sat on the mantelpiece. And it's finished with some Halloween fabric. But I will have to look this one up, because I can't remember. No, can't remember that one. But that was fun. What else have I got? Oh, this little one. This one used to hang sort of right up there, and I always used to get a lot of comments on her. She's definitely in the Halloween dust mode. So this I think is called The Good Witch by Sub Rosa, and it was in a Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine back issue, and I'll put the issue down below. This is stitched on a piece of 32 count fabric that I dyed myself, and actually if you go onto my walnut dyeing video, I actually dye this piece of fabric in there by almost sponging the fabric to sort of create this weathered outline. Now this is another Blackbird piece, but I know this is just dusting as I go, dusting as I go. This is available in a book. This is called October the 31st, and I think it is in the Winds of Autumn book. And I finished mine on a clock face. So it's just a metal clock face, and it is exactly that. It is meant as a face for a clock, like a replacement face for a grandfather clock or something like that. And then I used this beaded trim to go around the outside, stitched with a green thread. More than that I cannot offer you on the green thread. There we go. I really like that finish. Two more. There we go. Perfect. Actually not perfect at all. This is by Girls Night Out by Just Another Button Company. Oh, we've got the Holy Trinity here. We've not only got dust, we've got fluff and Dalmatian hair. That is the Holy Trinity of cross-stitching crap, isn't it? There we go. So, Girls Night Out by Just Another Button Company. So it's one of those ones where you purchase the buttons and you basically get the chart for free. It does have an extraordinary amount of colours on it for such a small piece. Hence why I think I just bought my own colours. I used some whisper thread to try and give the witch some crazy hair there. Her hair is all done with little French knots. And it's stitched on 30 count Weeks Dye Works something. But it came with, did it come with it? Ooh, it may be, I can't remember. Can't remember if it did or not. I know that you can get those charts from Create Nostalgia, from the Nimble Thimble. And lastly, unless I turn around and have a look and see if I can find the other piece, this is by Satsuma Street. I think it's just called Halloween Cat, but if you go onto their Etsy shop, you'll find it straight away. And I stitched it with a velvet and wool felt back. I just did stripes on, and it's stitched on a piece of, I think that was actually 28 count blue. I don't think I dyed that myself, I think that just came blue. Possibly. Not sure. And then the other one, let me just see if I can locate it easily. There it is. This is by, it's moved a little bit. This is by Silver Creek Samplers, and this is called Booze and Spirits. So it says Izzy Decaying, Booze and Spirits, Casket Aged. And I'd stitched this on another piece of that elixir. Now I remember stitching this because from the first stitch, nothing went right on this chart. It was more made up than Jack and Ori in places. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Right, well I hope you enjoyed my Halloween edition. If you're looking for Halloween editions, then definitely go and see the Crafty Stitchers. They did a special edition with Nightmare Before Stitchmas as well, like they did last year, and it was brilliant. I enjoyed every single minute of it. It was fab. But that's it from me. So next week we'll be into November. I will show you my Black Sampler November chart that I'm going to put up for sale. I will show you my Black Sampler November chart that I'm going to stitch, and I will show you my sampler that arrived, and she's absolutely gorgeous. I'll see you next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.